Well, let's take a look at what is happening in the markets, and we start off with the local boursa that has traded in red territory slightly, though, for most of the day, but ending off the day relatively flat, just 0.03% above that flat line. Of course, it did get a green handover from the Asian markets, and over there in China, investors are eyeing details that will be coming out of China's parliament meeting that kicked off today and will end on Friday. Of course, as I mentioned, the all-share relatively flat, the financial 15 being the only index in a green territory with a gain of more than 0.6%, but going in the opposite direction is the resources 10 complex deepening further into the red by 0.2%, and the industrial 25 declining there by almost 0.1%. Let's take a look at what is happening in the U.S. markets. And of course, the big news coming out of there this week, we do have the U.S. presidential election taking place tomorrow. So voters going to the polls tomorrow to decide on their next president between the Democrats and the Republicans. We also do have a monetary policy decision coming from the Fed that will be coming out on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. But looking at that, we are seeing a mixed picture, but largely green. The S&P 500 up 0.17%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq up by almost a similar margin. The Dow declining by more than 0.25%. Let's take a look at what is happening with the markets across the Atlantic, and in interesting company news there, we did have the shares of luxury retailer Burberry climbing after a news story came out on the weekend that another luxury company might be eyeing to buy the company Moncler. Looking at that picture, they're quite mixed. The FTSE 100 being the only index in the green, up 0.5%. The CAC 40 declining more than 0.25%, and the DAX there slumping more than 0.33%. Let's take a look at what is happening on the currency scene, and we start off with how the rand is doing against some of the major currencies. Weakness coming through to, strength coming through to the rand on that front by almost 0.7% against the US dollar at 17 rand 50, against the pound at 22 rand 74, and against the euro at 19 rand 9 cents. Let's check in on how the other currency pairs are doing, starting off with the euro dollar at 1.09, pound dollar at 1.29, and the yen at just below 152 against the US dollar.